Hi, Walter.
Hello, Bernie. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you.
How was Tammy today?
Making progress, Baruch Hashem.
Yeah, she's better today.
Yeah. Participated in all activities.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
How are you feeling? You okay?
I'm hanging in there. Yeah, I'm doing okay. Thank God.
Good. Okay.
We have another 10 days. You probably told you that.
What, in the rehab?
And extending it to the full 14 days. So that's good because she's going to have intensive activity, rehab. So that's very good.
Okay, she should have her first layman, that's all.
Thank you.
Chaim, you're very quiet, Chaim.
Yeah, we're still recovering from last week.
Okay.
Hey, nobody's doing video. I might as well not do video either.
Did you see the forecast for next Monday for rain?
Thursday is big rain day, and then next week it's Monday through Wednesday.
They're forecasting almost 5 inches on Monday alone. I've never seen that. 5 inches, just Monday.
That's a serious amount of rain.
Very. You have flooding all over the city if that happens.
Okay, get your pedal boat out.
Mamish.
I don't remember I don't remember 5 inches in this.
Never. That's like when it rains in India.
I don't know. I was never there when it was raining, so I can't tell. I was there, but
Oh, the lack of a sewer system in LA definitely is going to cause a problem.
it's also that the roads get blocked with all the rain coming down, and it just runs into the sea.
Yeah.
Hi, Bernie. How's Tammy doing?
Baruch Hashem, making some progress today. Good.
Very nice. Very nice.
Thank you for asking.
Good to hear.
We're learning the dinim of Vala Mechia. Did we leave off on page 34?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. So we learned last week or 2 weeks ago when we learned the sugya that if you ate grain products, the bracha concludes with ala michya ve'ala kakol. If you ate grapes, you say ala gefen v'priya gefen. And if you ate fruits of the sheva minim, it's ala eitz v'priya eitz. Right? What if you consumed a combination of these categories? You ate grains and fruits. Then you have to recite the bracha mein shalosh with ala michya and ala eitz. So what if you forgot one of them? So from the Levush, who was one of the achronim after the Shulchan Aruch, he was after the Ramah. You talk about 1700s, late 1600s, 1700s. Kivin the Gabi Yayin Amri, Vizela Shonon Brachas, who soed. Drinking wine causes you to be satiated. Chen Gabi Tmorim, dates. Amru Shein Zonin, Lefichach, Im Armor ala Yayin ala Tmorim ala Michya, Yatz. So, this is talking about a case where you should have said ala Michya and ala Eitz, Val Priya Eitz, but you forgot. The ala Michya will cover the Yayin or the fruits, because Yayin and fruit of the Sheva Minim have this special power of being soyed. People will have a meal based on those things. Somebody will go to a wine party when they're only drinking wine. So according to Lavush, if one mistakenly recited ala michya over wine or dates, you have fulfilled your obligations. You have to. So if so, perhaps one can argue that if one ate both grains and fruits or wine, and you recite ala michya alone, without including the form of ala gefen ala eitz, you too have fulfilled your obligation. But Rav Tzvi Pesach Frank in the Shalas and Shuvas Hart Tzvi, that you can distinguish between one who drank wine without eating grain products and then recited ala michya, which was the case of the Lavush, and a case where one ate both grains and fruits. The Hart Tzvi says, Shedivri Ataz, Ateres Zav, the Lavush, Hem davka b'misha shosa yain bilvad v'tov v'yirech ala michya. Ala yain shesosa, az yotz b'di'ed. Lavush was talking about a case where he drank wine. He should have recited ala gefen val priya gefen. Mistakenly, he recited ala michya. There, the Lavush said that you'd be yotze. Ava medidon didan, but what we're talking about, sha'achol gam mezonos, berchosu ala michya hu rak ala mezonos. Kivin shleisa kavanosu liftor berchosu ala michya sayayu rak ala mezonos. If you ate mezonos and wine, and you said the ala michya, your mind was on the grain, it wasn't on the wine. The maya zocha sayayin, I'm a varach ala michya al gefen. Lachein lo yotzi de bircha sayayin. So Rav Frank does not extend the limit of the Lavush to our case. Rav Frank first suggests that one can bring support to support from Rashi and Brachos regarding Bracha Rishona. Rashi writes that a person who recites Bor Pri Adam on an olive instead of an eitz will fulfill this obligation. But one who recites Adama on an olive and a radish must recite another bracha on the olive, since he did not have the olive in mind when reciting the Adama. And an olive is an eitz. Says Rashi, Avagav ditnan birch al persa ilan bor pri Adama yotza. If you said bor pri eitz on a vegetable, you're still yotze. That's only if you ate one species. You ate an olive and you said a boy pradama. Aval sonen v'zayis b'irchalat sonen lo nifter zayis. If when you ate the radish and the olive, and you said ala michya, and you made a boy pradama, you didn't cover the olive. So we want to extrapolate from there, perhaps to the bracha achrona. At the end of his discussion, Rav Frank writes that perhaps the halacha is different with regard to a bracha rishona, to which Rashi refers, and bracha achrona. In the former case, Rashi writes that when reciting Bor Pri Adom of a radish and an olive, one does not fulfill one's obligation for the radish. But in the case of a bracha achrona, where the obligation has already gone into effect when eating, one might fulfill one's obligation for the fruits or wine with ala michya, even if one ate grains as well. Rav Frank concludes that this point seems to be a subject of the Machlokas Achronim. The Chaver sheyichya ha'ir sheyesh l'chalik b'zeh bracha rishon and bracha achrona. He says, I think you can make a nafkamina between a bracha before the food and after. The loymar, the shani bracha rishon and the other line is chayiv b'zeh shlach l'adayim. He didn't eat yet, so there's no chiyuv. Lachen kol she'ena mechuven liftor hamin hasheni lo mifter. Since there's no kavana to pater the other species, it doesn't pater it. He ate and now he has a chiyuv bracha achrona. Yesh lomar the lo bekavana tayimils. It's not telling what the person's kavana is. The kol shekvar birich bracha should be avid yotza bo nifter. Ba'ach yafilu below miskab. The b'diavad he would be yotzei on the second item. The chiluk ze kotzva primakola. The yesh hefresh ben bracha rishon bracha achrona lam. B'shut Rav Pa'ali maybe Shem HaKorim Shafil Bracha Achrona Kol She'einu Mechuven Liftor. I mean, actually, if you're not having kavana for the second species, lo nifter b'ach, you're not ayin sham. Practical purposes, the Piskei Tshuva rules that one does not repeat the Bracha Mein Sholosh in accordance with the Pri Megadim, as well as do the principle of Sovek Brachas Lahakel, where you're lenient and you don't say the same of Hashem when there isn't doubt. Now, in the Alamichya, we mentioned Ritzei, we mentioned the holidays. We do that in Birchas Hamazon, right, where one adds additional paragraphs on Shabbos and Chagim. Ritzei, Yalaviyavo, and on the Yomim Neiroim and Al Nisim, on Chukah and Purim. But the Bracha Mein Sholosh, however, is too short to add in an entire paragraph. Is there a shortened version of these paragraphs that you have to say? Tosfos gives us the prevailing custom. Allah eitz uve Rambam mashech lahaskir bo me'ein ha'me'ura b'Shabbos v'yontif. You have to say ala michya on Shabbos and Yontif. Chen mashma. V'chein mashma b'Yerushalmi. The minhag was not to do this. The Yachol Lios Masha Maskirin Me'ena Me'ura Hainu Davka B'Meim Shei Regilim Likvoa Ayayin B'Mine Perus Avalayidna Lo Kavi. So Tosfos says there may have been mentioning it in the past or in their times when they used to serve wine and fruit with the meal. But now we don't set it anymore at the table, so we don't have it in mind. In practice, the Shulchan Aruch rules that one should mention the holidays within Bracha Mein Sholosh, except Chanukah and Purim. Mazkirin bo mein amor b'Shabbos Yontif Rosh Chodesh, but lo b'Chanukah u'Purim. The Mishnah Berurah notes that if one forgets to add the reference to the day, one still fulfilled one's obligation. The Mishnah Berurah also explains that on Chanukah and Purim, one does not recite any additional phrase pertaining to the day. As even in Birchas Hamazon, one only mentions them due to custom, but it's not a chiyuv to mention them. Therefore, in Al HaMichya, which is a lesser madrega than Birchas Hamazon, there's no reason to mention it at all. What does the Mishnah Berurah say? Mein amarach hainu kodem she'omer ki ata Shem tov meitiv yomer b'Shabbos v'ritzei v'achlitzeni b'yom HaShabbos hazeh. U'v'yom tov omer v'zochenu l'tova b'yom Chag HaPesach hazeh. Chen Rosh Chodesh v'zochenu l'tova b'yom HaShochodesh hazeh. U'v'diavad avidu lo echem ein amorei yotze. B'diavad, if you didn't mention anything about the holidays, you'd still be yotzei. Avalos v'chulei. Afilu Birchas Hamazon ein mochiv lahaskir mitzad adin. Rak mitzad minhaga v'kan leka minhaga klal alzeh. Says that there's no minig about this at all. The Sharat Tziyun offers a number of reasons why one still fulfills his obligation, even if you do not make mention of the day. Why are you Yotzei by Sukkot Pesachs? Sukkot. That why are we Yotzei even without saying Ritzei or the Yontif? Kamatami b'zeh echad. The Ein Mechuyev, number one, you're not Mechuyev to eat. The Sagi lo yochol zeh. That is mentioned on Rosh Chodesh. She'ein machzirin so b'chol gavni. So in Birchas Hamazon, if you didn't say Yalav Yavo, you don't have to go back because there's no chiyuv to eat. Chen matzati b'chudushay hara'ah, v'od ha'kama poskim cholkim b'sfir lahu. They ain't tzarich lasker klal. You don't have to mention when period are you reciting this. Like it's written with Beis Yosef, Gab Yerushalmi, Gufa mashmadehu rak lechatchila. To come Rav Yirmiyah, Hoyel Rav Zera Chashla, but ain't tzarich l'mechashla. You don't have to be worried about this.
But aren't we obligated to eat on Shabbos?
Look, that's why he said Tam Zeh is only on Rosh Chodesh. This Tam only has to do with Rosh Chodesh. There's no chiyuv to eat on Rosh Chodesh. Shabbos and Yontif, he wouldn't have that reason, but he'd have the other reason. What's the source of boring nefashos? We noted at the beginning of the shir that one recites boring nefashos as the bracha achrona over many types of food. Those for which the bracha is bor pri eitz when it's not one of the 7 species, or bor pri adama, or shakol. In all of those, you would say bor nefashos at the end. The source is Masech the Brachos stuff met Dal Damid Beis. Ara Yizak Bar Avdimi Mishum Rabbeinu. Alabeya on eggs, V'amine kufra and meat. B'tchilim Avar Shahakol. U'b'sof Bar Nefashos. Here it is. Aval Yeraka Lo. But if you eat vegetables, you don't have to say Bar Nefashos. Rabbi Yitzchak Amar Fili Yeraka. Aval Maya Lo. But if you ate water, no. Even water. Marzut Ravid Kid Rav Yitzchak Rav Dimi, Rav Sim Barashi Ovid Rav Yitzchak, the Simonech, Chad Kitrei V'Chad Kitrei. One is doing like 2. Because they were quoted, Rav Yitzchak Rav Dimi, Mishum Rabbeinu, and the other is Rav Yitzchak Rav Dimi. So there's 2 names. Aravashi Ana Zimna, L'chimit Karna, Avinin L'Kula. When I remember, I recited bracha even when drinking water. So, according to the Gemara, bor nefashos is recited after eating food such as meat. But Amoraim disagree as to whether it is recited after eating vegetables or drinking water. Tosfos comment that the locha follows Rav Ashi and bor nefashos is recited in all of the cases mentioned. That after you drink water, eat vegetables, you would say a bor nefashos. Now, Rishonim disagree with how bor nefashos should be concluded. According to the Rashba, you don't recite a following bracha, a concluding bracha. Ma'u litchom b'birchas bor nefashos rabos. Do we conclude with another bracha? Lefi shreiti katuv b'shem Rabbeinu Tzorfat. Shechotmin ba'baruch Hashem chayalomim. Utmiya milsa, it's a big wonder. Im kain, then they ma karua lo klum. The Gemara brachas doesn't really refer to it as a bracha. But if the ba'achas shechoismin ba ma'ishna mavarchin main shalosh, why would it any be different than the alamichya where you do recite another bracha at the end? Baruch atah Hashem alamichya v'lakalkal. Ada shamata ani lo shamata. He says, I heard this, but you heard it, but I didn't. And I never saw somebody close up the bor nefashos with a bracha. Aval mashrukshuli, or mashrukshul that it's hard for Shem Kain to make ma'akarev lo klum. Why are you reading it? It's not anything. V'danta b'nei shein chaysmin ba. Hal lesa, that's not correct. Does the kol bracha shein chaysmin ba kruya lo klum? All other brachas that don't have a concluding bracha, do we call it a lo klum? No. V'lo kol brachas ha-mitzvahs v'ha-peiros poskim v'lo chaysmis. We say bracha to Hashem b'rei praise. There's no chsima in the bracha there. So the Rashba disagrees. The Rishalmi cites views that one shouldn't conclude Bor Nefashos with the phrase Baruch Atah Hashem Chei Olamim. Rabbeinu Yonah rules that one concludes with the phrase, but without using Hashem's name or Melech, without Shem U'Malchus. Rishalmi Choytzul Lo B'Shem U'Mesayim Hachal Bor Nefashos Rabos B'Chazon Al Kol Mashu B'Atah Baruch Atah Hashem Chei Olamim. The Nir L'Moiri Arab Shezeh Matbea Kotzer who the Kivin Shlo Huskar B'Talmud Shalom Lo Nachlam B'Shem Mesafik Masfik. We don't. This Bor Nefashos is very short, and therefore it's not mentioned in the Gemara. We shouldn't be machtim with the name of Hashem. The name of bracha to Hashem. Baruch Chei Olamim. That's how we do. Our nusach is without reciting bracha to Hashem, because that's how the Shulchan Aruch paskin. Orach Chaim Reish Zayin. Peres ha'ilon, chutz b'chameshes haminim, fruit other than the species, v'chol peres ha'adam v'yirakos, other vegetables, v'chol davar she'en gidulim min ha'aretz. In the Gemara, that usually means mushrooms, eggs, meat. These aren't grown. Bracha achrona shalem bor nefashos rabos. V'im achol mikol minim elu mavorach lachar klum bracha achas. If you eat any of these foods, you do make a concluding bracha. And there is no Hashem concluding bracha. And you just conclude Baruch Chei Olamim. The Mishnah Berurah notes that the Gemara rules against Shulchan Aruch here, that one should conclude the bracha with the formula of Baruch Atah Hashem, though this is not the accepted practice. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Das Agros Lachtom B'Kashem B'Shem K'moshe Meduba B'Yerushalmi Mikol Makom Oilo Noagu came. The world did not accept this mitzvah. The Piskei Tshuva cites a machlokas concerning whether one can have in mind to exempt only certain foods eaten with one's Bor Nefashos, or whether it includes everything regardless of one's intent. He then offers a few suggestions. Because of our prima godim, im ochal b'shos harbe minim ubirech bracha achron Bor Nefashos adaita lemifter rak min echad patra kol. He ate 20 different things. At the end, he made one Bor Nefashos, and he only had one thing in mind. The din is Yotzei, he covers everything. And v'asur levarach shuv al shar minim. And you can't recite a bracha on the other foods. Ach matzinu deis b'poskim asovrim shebracha achrona ke'ein bracha rishona ve'ena poter l'masha daita liftor obistam. That you're only going to be Yotzei, that which you have in mind. Avol b'keven ba'adei shelo liftor mo'ila machshavta v'latzeis mikol savik yivakish b'manu that she is chayv b'bor nefashos v'chayv lepotru. Somebody else who still hasn't made the Bor Nefashos should have you in mind to potter you. O sheyotze l'chutz v'yaseh afsaka, go outside, make a hefsek v'yachzor v'varach bracha rishona al mashvot tzlechol od v'varach shuv bracha achrona. That removes all doubt. What's the meaning of Bor Nefashos? In cases where the suggestion of the Piskei Teshuvos were not followed, one should not recite another bracha achrona for other foods due to the principle of Sofik bracha lahakel. Some of the words of Bor and Farshas are difficult to understand. What do they mean? Tosfos explains. Kimo lechem umayim, she'efshar b'loim. You can't live without bread and water. V'al kol ma shebara lachios b'hem nefesh kol chai. Kloimar, kol ma sheba'olam, shegamim lo baram, yicholam olam lachayos, b'loim shelo baram. Even if the world could exist, even without them being created, but rather kim l'sanik ba'alma, just more enjoyment. Kimo tapuchim. We could go on living without eating apples, but the world would be that more dreary of a place. So therefore, Messiah Baruch Chai Elohim and B'Yushalmi Baruch Ato Hashem Chilo. According to this, we thank Hashem in His bracha for giving man the necessary basics to live, as well as additions to enjoy, though he could live without those. The Rashba gives another explanation. El Adra Muvarch al Shabar Nefashos Shechasronos V'Tzrichos L'Mashabara. Hashem created creatures who are missing things, particularly food, and Hashem and those people need what Hashem created. The Ben Ish Chai gives us a Kabbalistic explanation. B'bracha Archona Shebirchos Bar Nefashos Rabos Nirmaz Tikun Nefashos HaMegolgalim B'Tzaveach. There might be a neshama that died, that there's Gilgul neshama in a certain plant, or Balchai, or a certain animal. Or B'minim Acherim, Hashem is Gagelim, they're rolling. Sham, Ayidei Chatom. Ve'niskanim v'oilim mishum b'koach habracha. Their neshamas are fixed, and they go up to they whatever takana they need occurs with that bracha. Bracha to Hashem Elokeinu, Melech Olam, Borei Nefashos Rabot. You create many neshamas. Mi bruah v'chasronam kol ma shebrata. And these neshamas had shortcomings. However, ayadei chasronam im shrichim is gagel bechad me'elaminu mishul ficheto. These neshamas had to come back into one of these species, into a date, into a cow. We are instilling a new nefesh in their neshama. That person who rolled there. It's a huge thing. Okay, gentlemen, I'm only going to do half a shiur today because I'm still a little, I came this morning after a 14-hour flight. So we'll be back in gear next week, and we'll pick up here from the minimum amount for reciting a bracha achrona to the end. Any questions or comments on what we learned tonight?
Very good. Thank you.
Ernie, thank you.
Bye,
Welcome.
Ernie.
Yeah.
Better.
Welcome
Right.
back. How was the
Yeah,
flight?
welcome back.
Well, I slept 12 hours,
Wow.
but I had
That's
to take a
pretty good.
nap at work today. I took a nap between 12:30 and 2.
To get back. Yeah.
All right.
Good to have you back.
Bye.
Night.
All the
Goodbye.
best. Ernie. Be well. Talk to.